This region around the Great Lakes has been called the heartland. When it comes to agriculture, there's hardly an area in the world that compares.
Everybody, just hold on. I don't know what we're going to have here.
That's what brings the viewers back. That a boy.
Managed money, piling in.
Double digits higher.
So at this point, we're in kind of uncharted territory.
There's a lot of money on the sidelines.
So that was a crazy one.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, July 18th, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area. We'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here at September corn up 5 at 407. August soybeans were up 9.5 at 1031. And September Chicago wheat was up 9 3/4 at 543 1/4. No export sales announcements here this morning, so we'll jump right in. We've got some ongoing RVO discussions that appear to be tracking positive here. It's certainly bean oil and soybeans leading the way. Yesterday was nice to see, and overnight strength as well. Very good. We've got continued conversations on heat in the next 2 week outlook here. So I know in the east it's being closely monitored. I know they need some water in the east, and certainly will be pollinating a lot of corn here up to the upper Midwest. So something to watch there. And as we were talking before the show, and we'll jump right in, Ben, some real key technical levels here today. If we can get a real positive close, it could get some of the chart guys excited, and that'd certainly be welcome. So why don't you kick us off, and then we'll throw it around the room.
Yeah, I think big day for seeing how these things close. Right now, soybeans are working on an outside week higher. We haven't had one of those in forever. It is above its 200-day, slightly above its 50-day, and above the 20-day. So it's got, those are positive developments if you can make it stick. With weather being what it is, it'll be interesting to see, and all the kind of positive backdrop. And I'm sure people are sort of reworking balance sheets off maybe what it could look like with some negative weather to keep beans, below that kind of 52.5 bushel number. As far as corn goes, I think it's it had a great reversal on Monday, made a new low for the move, finished higher in an outside day. Corn could have an outside week with a trade above 30. Looks like it should. I don't know who's going to want to pound it on a Friday going into uncertainty for the weekend, but at this point we sort of been conditioned for failure in corn because that's been the MO for 5 months. But there are some solid technical developments here, and some room to potentially get us back to maybe a more nervousness for the short that's in there, and potentially get some end users to look at this and go, yeah, maybe it's a big crop, but 420, 425 corn seems like maybe it's not that expensive. But I think today is a big day, and then certainly how we come in and react on Sunday night to weather forecasts. We played this 2 weeks ago with the corn market, and we just really got all over it after that. But we'll see. Charts feel better, trade feels better. But I think you just got to keep an eye here on how we come out on Sunday night. So that's probably bigger than what we do today. Would love to see strong closes in both corn and beans today. So
Yeah, definitely. Justin, highest bean oil trade overnight since like September of 23. So that market's chugging. Obviously, it's got some outside influence there in terms of the discussions that are ongoing. But I guess, what are your thoughts here as we wrap up the week?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about soybean oil for a long time. It feels like years now. So it makes sense. I think we're getting to, a new normal as far as like the oil share part of crush, right? We're crushing for oil currently. I think that's going to be the norm. So, we used to be, 60% of the value or more was meal. I think that's going to be oil going forward. I think we're going to see over 50% and maybe up to 60% in some years, more than not. With these, as long as these policies stay in place, I think the infrastructure is there. I think the money has been put in there. It makes sense that oil will be at least a 50% oil share going forward. So, a lot of fighting, as far as trading going on, kind of fighting that 50% number just because we haven't seen it very often. But that was pre, renewable biodiesel. So I think the market's going to get used to just having oil be a higher percentage share. So we're going to have to figure out how to export more meal. We're going to see record crush numbers. I think all good things for the soybean oil or for the soybean complex. As far as markets, I kind of, I'm on the same page as Ben. I think it'd be interesting to see corn, kind of that in D's corn, kind of 433, 434 was kind of the bottom that we kept bouncing off of. And then we broke down way below it. So to see if we can get back above that or not. So I would guess that we're going to see a lot of selling kind of in the low to mid 30s, 430s on corn. And, it still is a rally in a bear market. We all hope that we can, get some short covering and get some, bullish feet underneath us. But right now it's still, unless the weather really changes, it's still a rally in a bear market. So I still think that, between here and 440, guys should probably get caught up on sales if they have really good crops and, have to move some corn by harvest. The time it's an interesting time, right? It's kind of counter seasonal. If you have to sell stuff by harvest, you have to start making some decisions. Obviously you have to factor in your crop insurance and all those things, but for guys that don't have storage, I would think, making some sales between here and 440 probably makes some sense, at least on a small degree.
Yeah. You see anything in the weather from what you're looking at?
Like I said yesterday, you get excited about the weather, but it just always ends up raining. To be honest with you, it's always got a dry, hot outlook, 14 days out, and then you get there and it's really not. So I'm sure the guys in the East really need this, they're going to really need these rains. Iowa's pretty set. They could probably not use some rain. But certainly Indiana, Ohio, Ben can talk to that, but they probably really need a rain right now. And that's going to be kind of the make or break over the weekend.
Yeah. You guys going backwards a little bit, Ben?
Yeah. That northern quarter across Indiana and Ohio has been very dry. They need rains. They've continued to get rains in Southwest Ohio, kind of across there, which has been good with all the late planting that they've had. But certainly that, let's call it that northern third, really needs a rain. Grass here is brown, and we've had one good rain in the last month, and it was not it rained hard for like 30 minutes and it was over with. So we had multiple forecasted showers this week, and I'm talking about the northern third, and they spit a little bit, and that's about it. So
yeah, I will say that on Monday, we were trading 185, 186, maybe, getting bigger. So we have traded some, we got to cheap prices because we're trading phenomenal yields. Yeah. So any kind of disruption, even if you started saying, what if it's only 181, which we've never seen before, that could be where the market's kind of just, maybe taking a little bit of, or putting a little bit of risk premium back in. So,
and that was a tight balance sheet though, right? That 181 was a tight balance sheet.
Well, yeah, I guess tight. I wouldn't say tight. I'd say, not burdensome at a 181. So,
and just throwing darts a little bit, from that 181, 4 additional bushels or 4 less bushels, which both are probably still in play. That's the difference between really tight and not really tight supplies. So I think there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on this finishing weather over the next 45 days, 60 days. But I think that we're talking about a balance sheet that, with the amount of acres that we planted, that 3 or 4 bushel difference can change the outlook for corn significantly.
Very good. Let's real quick, we'll go over to livestock here. Ryan, we got cash, becoming more defined here as the week has gone on in cattle, and pork cutout finally firmed up there in the hogs. So I guess why don't you wrap up livestock for the week here?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a weaker close yesterday, and no new highs, so everybody's kind of scratching their heads here, just with cash trade just kind of staying relatively steady, even a little bit firm. So we did corroborate those suspicions here. Open interest is up again here, and cash is trading 230, 231 in the south, and 238 to 242 in the north. So I mean, like, these are great prices. I mean, everything's kind of holding up pretty well, but it just seems like we didn't really break yesterday, just kind of an inside trade. So once again, there really hasn't been anything generally that negative to really kind of cause any fear here, especially with the discount. But there was in the headlines, it did look like Brazil stated that they're ready to possibly negotiate, maybe work out this potential 50% tariff. So I think maybe that could have created a little bit more of a negative money flow, towards the end of the day. So we'll see how that shapes up. But you priced in a lot of the news here going into the week, so I think you'd see kind of a two-sided action again. But generally, once again, cash is king, and I think just the way it's shaping up, I mean, there doesn't seem to be much much real downside concern right now. So we'll see if that picture changes going into the next week. And yeah, carcass definitely kind of leading the charge here. I mean, we actually had a pretty good close yesterday, triple-digit gains in the hogs. I mean, after a $10 break over the past month, we're finally seeing, I think, a little bit of chart support, maybe some kind of seasonal bottom picking. But overall, cash has been kind of on the weaker side. So we've seen about a $4 break this week, coming in down $2 yesterday. But on the other hand, it seems the focus really is on the product market. Belly's up 345. So it does seem like it's going to be that kind of led market here right now, with all eyes on bellies and carcass kind of going forward. Plus, you're just beating it up for a while. I think maybe we can test some chart resistance up on the top of this move here. But generally speaking, it's kind of seasonal, kind of vulnerable time frame. So we'll see how much we can take back here. But overall, just watching the product markets and kind of going with that flow going into next week.
Very good. Appreciate the update there. We made it. We got through another week, guys. Brian, it's Fun Fact Friday. What do you got for us, buddy?
Thanks, Dan. Happy Friday, everybody. Today we'll go through some old phrases that we still use today, and their origins might surprise you. For example, I'm going to hit the hay, obviously meaning we're going to bed. The origin, obviously, all beds were made with hay back then. So here we go. Saved by the bell, meaning you're rescued at the last moment. Origin, back in the day, old coffins used to have bells inside, just in case they buried somebody alive. How terrifying is that?
What?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. That's freaky.
That one.
Yeah.
It's like Monty Python. Like, I'm not dead yet. You will be.
Yeah, right.
Only mostly dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll go on to let the cat out of the bag. Obviously, the meaning is reveal a secret. Origin, farmers used to sell a pig and a poke. Poke meaning a bag, but dishonest ones would actually sneak a cat inside it. So once you open the bag, cat, you saw secrets out. So thought that was kind of neat. Never knew that one. This one, I think, is right up Ryland's alley. 3 sheets to the wind, obviously, meaning you're super drunk. Origin in sailing terms, sheets are ropes that control the sails. If 3 sheets are loose, the ship's obviously going to be wobbling, like Ryland after one Jello shot.
There's my weekend plan right there.
Mind your P's and Q's, obviously meaning being on your best behavior. The origin was English pubs. Bartenders would keep track of pints, P's, and quarts, Q's, on a chalkboard. So if you drink too much, the bartender would tell you to mind your P's and Q's, or you're going to be kicked out. I thought that was kind of neat.
Strong.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. Raining cats and dogs, obviously meaning heavy rains. Origin, Old England, heavy rains would wash out dead animals out of the gutters and into the streets. And you look outside, oh, there's a cat, there's a dog. I guess it's raining both. So.
Oh man, that's
Wow.
Yeah. And I'll leave you with this one to chew over for the weekend here. Blow smoke up your arse. I'll keep it nice, meaning flatter someone insincerely. Origin is 18th century English doctors literally blew tobacco smoke up people's arses if they were unconscious. Eventually, people caught on it was nonsense and that no longer existed. So, happy Friday,
doctor,
everybody!
Man.
Wow, yeah, that wasn't a doctor.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Hey, we're gonna have some fun with this one.
I think we should bring that
Yeah,
back.
yeah. Happy Friday, everybody.
Very good, Bri. Thank you, sir. Just came into the open. We got September corns up 5 1/4 now, 407 1/4. August soybeans are up 9 1/4, 1030 3/4, and September Chicago wheat's up 11 3/4 at 545 1/4. Appreciate everybody that tunes in on a daily basis. If you wouldn't mind, throw us a like and certainly subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to do so, and it'll keep you up to speed on everything that's going on with the AgYield. So again, thanks to everybody that supports the show. We're doing this live every day that the markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments here this morning, guys. It was a good show. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday.
The War Room is proudly presented by AgYield. For over 50 years, the AgYield team has provided grain marketing and risk management solutions for growers across the country. Our veteran consultants harness cutting-edge technologies to pinpoint risk, optimize market performance, and protect your farm's profitability. Discover a new approach to farm revenue management at agyield.com.
Hey guys, Jack here. Be sure to support the show by hitting the like button, leaving us a comment, and subscribing to the channel for all the latest updates. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.